Welcome back to my channel. My name is Olive and you are joining me for episode 5 of Podcast with Olive, and today I am welcoming my wonderful friend Ben. So thank you.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, wicked. We're just in like a really silly mood, just like pre-filming. Silly vibes, it's the way to be. But yeah, tell me.
Best vibes.
Best vibes, always. 10 out of 10. So just for the audience, give me a little bit of context about yourself, what you do, and yeah.
Who am I? What do I do?
Oh my god, such profound questions.
The big question. So the pretentious way of saying things is I'm a movement coach.
I mean, I also say that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
but I'm
cool.
also like, I sound like such a dick.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit, I wish there were better words.
Yeah.
But I guess that's like a glorified PT in a lot of senses.
I feel so called out, but yes.
It's true though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like people would understand personal trainer, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And then like, I guess in certain fringe parts of that, people wouldn't understand the word movement. I guess it's fairly well known and understood these days.
Yeah.
So I train people at a little studio gym. People come and do one-to-one stuff with me.
Nice.
And it's like we like to move, we like to jam, we like to play. You know,
Sick. Yeah.
be human animals.
So my question is, do you call yourself a movement coach because you don't align with the connotations of a personal trainer?
Yeah, it's like it kind of feels like personal trainer plus something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a bit more.
Yeah, that
'Cause
makes
there's,
sense.
like plenty of PTs out there that will do like fitness. And sure, I do fitness. I said do. But like I like to think it's a bit more than what you would just get from any PT.
Yeah. Do you think it's because like you have a more like holistic approach to how you train your clients?
Yeah, holistic for sure. Like, it's not just like get in the gym and like get sweaty and razz out. Sets on reps on sets. And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It is some of that, but then also like look at movement patterns and see how you feel in your body. And, you know, like just genuinely feel good and be a bit healthier, but for longer as well.
Yeah. So looking more at training for longevity over a short-term kind of goal.
Yeah, it tends to not be like the aesthetic thing, although the aesthetics can come into it when it's like, oh, I want to move in like a flowy way.
Yeah.
Like, look like I'm moving like a leopard or something.
A supple leopard.
A supple leopard. Ooh, little tennis star, shout out, love it.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I have no more to say.
No, it's so interesting and so refreshing to hear about other coaches within the space who have a very similar mindset, and I think that's why we get on in the first place, because like we've come from different backgrounds off movement and off coaching, but kind of with the same intention for our clients. So within your coaching, what kind of like modalities of training do you use?
So many.
Nice.
I think of myself as like a massive amalgamation of like different people and influences from over the years. But like I tend to do a lot of sort of animal flow stuff that comes into it a fairly decent amount. Lots of like hand balancey, more acrobatic kind of stuff. Plenty of actual weightlifting as well. But also like what I think of as like cool weightlifting. I guess the like cliche word to use would be functional.
Okay.
But yeah, like lots of different types of things, not just like the simple shit like squat, deadlift, bench, maybe a bit of that, but you know, get some rotational movements in there.
Nice.
Lots of Cali style stuff as well, some bodyweight stuff, use rings. Is pretty cool. I like
Very
little
cool.
ring. And as you know, I love bouldering myself and climbing. And I've been trying to get a little bit more like climbing specific training in for a few clients as well.
Yeah, because at your gym you have your fingerboard and you have your hangboard and you have a bunch of different like grip training.
Toys, stuff. Also lots of like prehab stuff as well.
Oh, okay.
So like stuff that is good for climbers to do so
Yeah.
they can climb longer.
Interesting. So how did you kind of get into coaching and training other people?
Kind of by accident.
Okay, yep.
Also like the classic often common answer of these times is COVID, right? Like I was doing other stuff and then COVID kind of like chucked me into needing to pay my bills. Stuff having disappeared.
Nice.
But I realized that I'd kind of accidentally been preparing to coach people for like the last decade. So
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
my own sort of like nerdiness about health and fitness and movement, and like just listening to podcasts, devouring all the information I can, and like just being in that world
Yeah.
made it a really easy thing to pick up,
Yeah,
easy
interesting.
transition.
So have you always kind of been interested and like experimental within movement?
Yeah, pretty much always.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure. Like, I remember when I first started climbing, I hadn't really been into fitness very much. I had been a little bit, but it was just
Yeah.
like generic, classic bodybuilding style
Yeah.
fitness that every 18-year-old lad picks up, and and that like transformed when I started climbing and kind of fell in love with that.
Yeah.
And then I was seeking things that one would make me a better climber, but two would make me feel the same way that like climbing and bouldering and things like that make me feel, that like freedom of movement.
Yeah. Because like whilst the gym can be such a wonderful entry point for a lot of people to start training their body, it's not using, at least bodybuilding style, it's not specific for the entire body to find that aspect of like flow state. And yeah, so to be hungry for that, like after your bouldering, what did you find after that then that kind of brought about the same sensations?
Good old movement culture.
Nice.
So like, I think I don't remember kind of the path, but definitely looking at kind of like Ido Portal style things.
Okay. Yeah.
Into it a lot.
Yeah.
And looking at sort of gymnastic calisthenic style stuff, because it was quite obviously a similar kind of strength.
Yeah.
And would feed into climbing quite a lot. And I just kind of started geeking out on like handstands and things like that.
Yeah.
Like wanting to do Ido Portal stuff, but not wanting to pay thousands of pounds to go to Ido Portal camps.
Maybe not.
Yeah. So like DIY Ido.
Yeah. Right. Just figuring it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, like there's a little bit of like, I'm always looking for novelty. Like,
Yes.
I'm always like, oh, new things. That's
Yeah.
So I'm always just like looking at what other people are doing and bringing it into what I do. Have a play. Maybe it's fun and works for me. Maybe it doesn't work for me. Maybe it's fun, but it doesn't work for me. Shit.
Damn it.
I need to be better at this.
Yeah. So would you say that a lot of your training is self-taught?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. There's a few things that I've like specifically like gone to certifications and things for. So like animal flow is one of those. FRC, like functional range conditioning, things like that. That I feel the structure of a certification really actually helped with those things.
Yeah.
But then other stuff, it's really just been led by me playing with it.
Yes.
And like experimenting. Like maces, I use maces a lot in the gym.
Yeah. When we did that one session together, I was like, oh,
so much fun with it.
Yeah.
Swinging a big metal stick around. Oh, I love it.
Honestly, like I don't think it just felt so medieval. It's like I'm having a great time. Yeah, absolutely. Really hard though.
Really hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like for me, I feel like it has bulletproofed my shoulders doing that.
Interesting.
And it's just this thing that I stumbled across. Like I must have seen a video of someone playing with a mace, and I was like, I want to have a go with one of those.
Yeah.
Ordered one and just started playing with it.
Yeah, here we go.
Swing it around.
Yeah.
Taking a bit more knowledge from various people online, but otherwise just had a play, see how it worked for me, how it affected me, and like also how to learn the complex movements involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's like the internet obviously has been a blessing in disguise in that kind of way because you've been exposed to so many different movement practitioners on there. Yes, there's like loads of bullshit that you have to wade through. So much. But like that's how your story mirrors how I came into my teaching and my coaching as well. Like I was led by curiosity when I came across yoga on the internet, and I was then like, I kind of basically want to try copy what these people are doing, and then from there like brought about my own practice and learned from that. And similarly with like animal flow, I remember seeing, I think Steph and J I think Steph Rose and Jay from Phase 6.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Steph and Jay.
yeah. So I remember coming across them and being like, oh my God, what the hell is
They do
this?
such cool shit, don't they?
Such cool shit. So I was like, I kind of just want to mess around and figure out if I can do that. And then that led me down the path of like animal flow and mobility training.
Cool.
And all of it was led by curiosity and this like desire to just experiment and see what I could do with my body.
Yeah.
But again, similar to yourself, like obviously there's been like trainings that have like guided me more specifically.
Right.
But
Wait, you're a qualified yoga teacher?
oh my God, how did you know?
So cool.
But yeah, so it's like it's really fascinating to come across other coaches who have been led by the same level of curiosity and be like, oh damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that for me kind of guides how I approach things with my clients as well. So I want people to know that you can have fun and like you can have this play element to being physical and like having that just enjoyment side of things. It doesn't have to be, oh, I've got to go to the gym and work out. It can be like, sweet, I get to go to the gym and move and have a good time and do all this cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So you do you tie in like mindset and almost like, I guess like the psychology of training and movement into your clients?
Yeah, so, well, it depends on the clients. So often it naturally comes up when it needs to. So, you know, like the whole process of going to a PT and training with them, you're on a certain path there already in your head, aren't you? You've made a decision to do something. And things will come up, like if I'm asking someone to do something that they don't know what they can do it, then there's a decision they have to make there. They have to make the decision to like try and do it. So though in that sense, like things just naturally, like what would the word be? Just sprout up, you know?
Yeah.
It's not the word I was looking for.
But it's a nice
goes word.
But sprouting is quite nice. I like that.
Sprouts.
We like Brussels can stay for Christmas only.
So yeah, in that sense, it is part of the deal, you know?
Yeah.
And then at other times, there are times when I think the psychology of, I don't want to say exercise, but of being physical is something that I specifically pursue. So I do these like small group sessions where the objective of them is to kind of pursue a certain feeling or a certain emotion or take yourself to the edge of what you know you can do and then have that conversation with yourself. And that's the whole point of those sessions. And I've made it very clear to the people taking part that, hey, this isn't about like you're going to get a great workout. It's going to be really hard and it's going to benefit you physically, but it's more about the internal exploration and it's more about that psychological aspect. And that's the primary goal there, and that is the thing that we prioritize over everything else, you know. And that's been really cool, really fun.
And it's quite, again, it's refreshing to hear about all of this stuff, because I think for perhaps people who aren't within the movement space, they assume that yoga is the only sort of movement practice that you can have which is like inherently spiritual. But there's aspects within other movement modalities like weight training and strength and resistance training which is so spiritual as well, because it's connected to the self and like connected to like the internal factors that are going on. And I think it would benefit a lot more people to know that there are coaches out there like that who are providing that space, and it's not just about the physicality of the movement. It's like, no, you see what's going on.
And it's really hard to separate the physical from the psychological from the spiritual, right? Like those things are all intertwined.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like a really cliche thing, but people for decades have been saying, oh, running is my meditation, you know? And you know, that's just a very obvious indication of that. People are gaining something from it that they wouldn't necessarily expect to gain from it.
Definitely. I mean, I don't get it because I don't like running, but
running for me is just like, oh, I guess I'm going to keep going.
Damn.
It's the opposite of meditation, though. It's very much
it's a grueling practice. Absolutely. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to like do sprint training. Could do that for days.
Sprints are badass.
Yeah, right? But like running for me, just, I don't know whether it's my physical body or my mental strength that lets me down. And I'm still trying to like navigate the two. I'm like, I know I'm physically strong in so many other components, whether my stamina is just like shit, or whether my brain is just like, we would rather do something else, or like can feel some niggles here that we're not enjoying. Yeah, but it's a main like movement where I really don't enjoy it at all.
It's interesting. I once heard the kind of like characteristic of endurance described as your endurance doesn't start until you want to stop. So if you take running as a very easy, simple example, like if you're just running and having a great time, it's not really endurance yet. It's endurance once your body is like trying to convince you to stop running.
I see.
And you're making that constant decision to keep going.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah, this might be hard right now, but we're going to keep going. That's the actual characteristic of endurance.
Yeah. So kind of like leading into a slightly different space with that, have you ever had a movement practice where you've like hit the wall, like the proverbial wall, where you just cannot keep going, like any kind of training where you're just like, I can't right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Like less than a week ago.
Oh, was this your thrusters session?
Yeah, this is the thrusters burpee session. Yeah, I literally had to stop. And wow. This was one of these group sessions that was designed to be a bit psychological.
Yeah.
And I'd planned for people needing to stop.
Yes.
The idea was that we were going to just keep going until you as an individual cannot go anymore. And when you can't go anymore, you hold a plank or a Superman position or something like that. Yeah. While everyone else carries on with what they're doing. And I had to stop. I got to the point where I could not do another thruster. I think I did the burpees, but...
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn.
And yeah, just hit the wall.
Yeah, it's really interesting when your body's like, absolutely not, we're not going to do this anymore.
The legs are like, what? You want to stand up? Not happening right now, mate.
That's so true.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think I had that. My coach programmed in for me the burpees, very similar to your session, where it was like every minute do one, and then minute two do two. Was it that
right?
One?
Yeah,
something like that.
Death by format.
Yes, the death by format. And I remember hitting like, I think it was 15 minutes of burpees, and had done like so many, and I was like, I physically cannot do another one. My shoulders are giving out.
Hundreds at that point.
Hundreds.
Crazy, isn't it?
And my legs are like dripping of sweat, and it was like the middle of winter, and I was like, yeah, it was like not okay.
Grim.
Yeah.
But it's also a great place to have been.
Well, that's it, right? Because I was like, no, I can definitely push for like one more minute of this. Right. And what made it really interesting, and I knew Chloe said this to me to get in my head to see how much I could push myself. Okay. She was like, yeah, my other client, she got to like 17. Ooh. I was like, I'm gonna get there.
That's a good technique.
Yeah, right?
Nick that one.
Yeah. And it didn't happen.
No.
But I was like, I'm not upset that I didn't beat this other client of Chloe's.
Phantom other client.
Yeah, this phantom other client. I was more interested in like where my mind went at that phase. Like, can I push myself further? Or it was interesting that my body gave up before my mind.
Right.
You know, rather than my mind giving up before my body, which is what happens in running.
Right. I'm just bored of this shit.
Yeah, I was like, no. Yeah.
And that is an interesting connection as well, because also like the body giving up then makes it harder for the mind as well. Right?
Yeah.
They feed into each other.
Yeah.
The harder the body's finding it, the more you're going to want to give up.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The stronger willed you've got to be to carry on.
Yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship with the kind of separation between mind and body. I think it's really useful to separate the two.
Yes.
Particularly if I'm trying to explain something to somebody.
Yeah.
It's a nice label, but actually they're so intertwined, aren't they?
Yeah, entirely. You cannot treat them separately.
No.
Yeah.
And I mean, just look at sort of like breathing practices. The physical thing you do with your body can, just like that, state change your mind.
Yeah.
You can change how you're feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's so intertwined, and that's why, like, again, practices like yoga can perhaps bring that into people's attention where they perhaps haven't realized it before, because again, inevitably the practice focuses on like what is going on with your breath, what is going on with your body, what is going on in your mind, and then they can take that into other spaces, because I think it's a bit more accessible to understand that perhaps in a yoga space as opposed to like a gym setting or a gym environment. Because I know that I've definitely done it in the past. I've gone to the gym and I'm like, I just want to fucking forget what's going on in my mind right now. I don't want to be there. I just want to move. You know,
you just need that like physical release.
Where it's just like there's just separation right now. And I know that obviously like some people treat the gym like therapy, you know, or to just at least come into that headspace.
Yeah.
Please get a therapist, like on top of the gym. Like we all need therapy. But yeah, it's been an interesting kind of like place to navigate and see where I'm at with that. Or just to have like a pure concentration on the movement that I'm doing at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
And that can be quite mindful in itself, can't it? Like to just be inhabiting your body to the maximum extent.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
almost is like your body is just taking up all of your mind.
Yes.
There is no space for anything else.
Yeah.
Just do the movement.
Yeah, literally.
I really like that feeling. That's like a great place to be.
Yeah.
But very hard to get to, I find.
Very difficult to get to. And I don't know if you have this, but it very much depends on the space that I am in and the people that are around me and like the feeling of the space as well. Yes, I'm an empath, like I have empathetic like qualities, but I also feel like I very much absorb the energy of a space.
Right.
So when I'm in a gym that's like very, very busy or there's a lot of people kind of rushing around, I feel that in my training. Like I feel like I'm rushing through because there's like people who kind of want to use the space.
Yeah.
Whereas if I go in the day and it's quieter, I can take my time and that's when I go more into like the flow state.
Right.
Yeah.
Like less external influences.
Exactly. Or like just less like, stimulated by the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of talk at the moment in like psychedelic use of set and setting, right? That's a phrase that a lot of people will be familiar with. And I don't think there's any reason that it's only appropriate to think about set and setting when you're taking mushrooms or whatever.
Yeah.
It's also, you know, for the rest of your life, set and setting is also really quite influential. I think. In exactly those ways, your environment really does change how you feel.
Absolutely.
And the people around you as
well. So do you find like since coming into and having your own training and gym space with Henry and Chris that you're able to change up how you coach?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's really great. There's no matter like who you are and how confident you are with what you do, there's always in a public space, there's always a little like self-conscious thing, you know, even if it's not massive, it's just that little thing in the back of your head of like, okay, we're doing something a bit weird now. It's a bit different to what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
People are looking and it's fine for me because I'm totally used to it and I'm used to being the weirdo in the room, to be perfectly honest. But for clients, it can be a little bit of a barrier.
Okay.
Like, if I'm asking them to do something a little bit different to what everybody else is doing, they're maybe going to be not resistant, but internally they're going to be self-conscious and it is going to affect how they go about things. It's going to take them away from the physicality of it. And it's going to distract them.
Yeah.
So in our space where it's basically just one-to-one coaching, or maybe there'll be Henry or Chris and one of their clients there.
Yeah.
We all feel free to do whatever it is we feel is appropriate to do with the client at that time.
Yeah, nice.
Which is really great. Like Henry and Chris have some quite unique coaching techniques themselves, and it's been really good to kind of witness those in that quite intimate environment. And it's also great to just be able to experiment and be like, okay, like if I'm with a client, we're just going to do this. Don't know how this is going to go. We'll have a little play. Maybe it will work great. Maybe we put it to the one side and we don't touch it again. That's fine. It's really freeing. You know?
I can imagine, quite a liberating experience to be able to just be yourself as a coach as well. And one of the most simple things that I've seen whenever I walk past your studio, I either see again yourself, Henry or Chris, like you're all barefoot.
Yeah.
Like naturally, like if you're not like barefoot, it'll be in your Vivos, but it's really, really interesting to see because in your like standard gym environment, no trainer is ever barefoot.
It'd be very strange.
Very, very strange. But to see how you don't even bat an eyelid. Like to me, again, I'm majority of the time I'm barefoot anyway when I teach yoga, right? But to see like coaches of other movement practices, I'm like, hell yeah.
It's so good, and it's become like normalized in our space, which is great because every client will walk in and they'll take their shoes off and they'll start training in their socks or barefoot, and it's just so good for them. It's so good for our feet.
And
it's because it's normal, there's no hesitation at all. It's just like, this is what we do, and I assume that it's then going to bleed out into the rest of their lives. They're going to take their shoes off in more situations where they wouldn't. Like a friend of mine that I do some training with, he's like, yeah, I'm always kicking my shoes off at work, walking around the office while I'm on the phone, like got my toes out. People look at me a bit weird,
we're like,
but whatever. I'm happy being the weirdo in the room, which is something I want to promote. More weirdos in more rooms.
It's weird that like it's weird that it's considered weird that you know being barefoot is an odd thing to do when it's inherently a very natural,
isn't it,
part of human existence to be barefoot.
Is like putting coffins around our feet. Right?
Yeah,
that's the weird thing,
right? Like I grew up barefoot majority of my time. Like at home, I was always barefoot. Again, the only main time was like if we were going to school or whatever, where I'd wear shoes. So for me, being barefoot is so natural and so normal. And my favorite ever story is I grew up with quite a lot of South African friends.
Okay.
And they spent like their early years growing up in South Africa. And again, they were always barefoot, like running around the bush.
Cool.
And when we were all 17, we went to do our Gold Duke of Edinburgh in the West Highland Way up in Scotland. And it was June, so it was like warmer, but not particularly like warm, still in Scotland.
Yeah.
And we were walking the trails. Everyone was in their like, you know, their Carrymore boots. And like
chonky
boys. Oh yes, so much shoe, like heavy. And I just remember my friends Jeremy and Yanaman like walking the trails barefoot, like. And it was rocky and it was muddy and they were like hard trails. I was just fucking strolling along barefoot.
Love it.
Like little hobbits. It was great. It was really interesting.
That's so cool. And so normal for them that they are actually like fully booking the trend with school age kids who, let's face it, can be really judgmental, right? And yet still they're like, yeah, we're going barefoot. Why wouldn't we?
Yeah, right. And I was like, are your feet not cold? And like they had just like our hands have calluses from climbing and lifting. Their feet had calluses because it was just so like, they were just used to it.
Yeah. Functional feet.
Functional feet.
Calluses are functional, right?
Oh my god, yeah. Speaking of, I have so many. Oh, hello. It's like, I heard you speaking out calluses, and
Let me talk about callus. Beans out.
Beans. My calluses. I almost got a pulley injury from one because on this hand here, I didn't like shave it down and all the tendons started getting really angry around it.
Okay.
I was like,
so like the callus was pressing on the tendon.
Yeah, I think so. Interesting. Yeah. So kind of leading into that one.
Yeah.
Are you dealing with any major injuries and stuff? Right. Lovely old injury chat.
Good old climber's elbow, otherwise known as tendonitis.
Nice. So much fun.
It's reared its ugly head recently, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. For years in one side, in my right side, I've sort of, I'm not going to say battled, it's been much more low-key than that, but it's crept up every once in a while, you know?
Yeah.
It makes itself known, have to rest a little bit, ease off a bit, but recently the other one has like more than crept up. It's barged in, slammed
like,
the door open.
I'm here now.
Yes. Pay attention to me.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that's kind of what tendonitis requires.
Yeah.
Give it some attention.
Yeah.
Recognise it's there.
Yeah.
Stop climbing quite as much, which I haven't learnt just yet.
It's difficult though, right? Because again, with injuries, it's just frustrating, especially when movement is such a massive part of your life and your livelihood. It's really difficult to take a step back. And we can say, it's really, really easy to say to clients, oh, like rest, you know, let your body recover. But when it's so ingrained in your entire existence, it's like, fuck, it's really confronting.
It's like every day I do something that makes me realise my elbow hurts.
Right.
Because I'm used to doing things every day like that. And luckily, like, it's not every movement that hurts it.
Yeah.
Loading it in certain ways will cause pain and probably set the injury back a little bit.
Yeah.
So you do have to really like put it front and centre and think, okay, let's ease off a bit. Give it some space. Do some rehab exercises and like give it time. Time's the big thing, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Time without climbing.
Which is no. Big sad. But it's so true because I've definitely taken my body for advantage, like particularly from like the age of 20, probably like 9, actually 18. From the age of like 18. Yeah, from like 18 till probably like this year, 25, I definitely took it for advantage. Like, I was like, yeah, cool, I can just go to the gym and chuck myself into this. I would warm up like with all my training sessions, but like the intensity of some of my training was so extreme and I wouldn't allow myself enough recovery. I was like, I'll be fine. I swear to God, the day I turned 26, the next day my body was like, no.
Just falling apart.
Yeah, I was like, I have so many niggles.
You have arrived at middle age.
Yeah, like, welcome. But it's hard
Isn't
to
it?
deal with. And it's a hard pill to swallow.
Right.
You know, especially when recovery used to be pretty easy.
Like instant. Yeah.
Yeah, because you said you still got DOMs from your thrusted session.
I do. Yeah. 4 or 5 days later.
I do love DOMs though. They are quite fun.
Yeah, it's like a satisfying, okay, we've done something.
Yeah.
I've noticed as well as I'm 31 and particularly in the last 5 years, I actually have to not just razz it on everything.
Right.
There are injury risks if you don't take precautions, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm in my 60s and
No.
I'm like really having to take precautions.
No.
I can still take risks, which is good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But like, as I have gotten a little bit older, definitely recovery is a little bit.
Yeah, you just got to be smarter with it, I think.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things you do for recovery?
So recovery in general or like around injury?
Kind of both, actually. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm interested.
So, I mean, rest is a big one, and there's two sides to that. Like resting and not loading things when they are injured is pretty obvious, I think. But we don't always behave like it's obvious. We like to think, oh yeah, I've rested it for 4 hours.
Yeah.
But also like sleep is so huge. The last couple of years, I've really dialed in, like really gone to town on trying to make sleep better.
Yes.
And particularly in my work now, I feel like I have to be on point for every single person that I see. And that if I'm knackered, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I need to be like, I owe it to the people paying me for my services to give them like full Ben, not like tired from 3 hours sleep Ben.
Oh yeah, not yeah.
So I've gotten on that in recent years.
Nice.
It helps that I have a Whoop band, not sponsored. Imagine, and that'd be great. Kombucha.
Sponsor.
And that has been actually really useful. It's ridiculous, but like all of the things that I know are bad for sleep, and I always did know were bad for sleep, I now don't do them just because I get a red light on the app.
Oh, really?
When it happens, because it gives you a sleep score.
Okay.
And when I get a shit sleep score, I'm like,
crap,
that sucks. When I get a good sleep score, I'm like, yes, points.
Nice.
Literally gamifying it has actually changed my behavior.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. I should be able to do that without gamifying it, but I wasn't. So realistically, it has helped.
Yeah, if that's the way it's helped you, then fair enough, right? Yeah.
And other things for recovery is, just thinking about myself, like putting myself first sometimes. Just taking time to relax and make sure life is balanced in whatever way that takes shape for me, and at different times in my life that takes shape in different ways.
And then
there are some specific things as well. So like the tendonitis at the moment, I've been doing lots of sort of extensor work. So for climbers and pretty much everybody who work or lives in a gym environment, exists in a gym environment, there's lots of flexion in the hand, in the wrist, in the forearm, very little extension against resistance. So I've been doing extensor work. My favorite at home accessory is my bucket of rice.
Oh my God, I have one too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes. Not the only weirdo in the room.
Do you want me to go bring it? Do you want to have a little stir?
Let's do it.
Okay, BRB.
Love the rice.
It's not really a bucket, but it's a bowl.
Yeah. So the idea is when you do lots of flexion, you're closing your hand against resistance, we're gripping barbells, we're gripping climbing holds, whatever it is, that sort of underside of the forearm there, getting loads of work. Yeah. Which is great, but it's not so great if the other side, the extensors, isn't getting the same work. Then the elbows suffer. So you want to be doing this kind of thing against resistance, which looks like planting the old fist in the rice and opening and closing against resistance.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's so satisfying.
Oh my God.
And you can do so many different movements. I'll try not to get rice all over your floor.
It's all good.
You can do all the kind of like moving around like that.
And my favourite is the like picking it up.
Ooh.
So Again, just like plunging your hand in, grabbing a bowl full and picking it up and then releasing.
And it's so like textual as well.
It's so sensory.
Feels
It's
great.
Does it smell good?
Food.
He's like, why? I've never smelt rice before. Okay, well,
Did
there
he
you
just
go.
eat a piece?
I don't. Did you just eat a piece?
I'm sure he wouldn't do that. He's an animal that knows how to look after himself.
He'll eat cheese.
No.
That's the only like human food he will eat. It's really odd.
It's funny you say that, and I was just thinking cheese isn't really like
human
food, is
food.
it? Like,
No.
we don't look after ourselves when we eat cheese. We're
So
basically
true.
all lactose intolerant, yet we all eat cheese still.
Yeah, very true. Very
So-
true. Jax.
A ridiculous.
Oh my god, he's sitting in the light.
It's probably warm, right?
Yeah. I mean,
He looks so glamorous right now.
get the light on me. So I wanted to kind of come back to the rehab for the hands. So talking about everything, I have been dealing with like tendonitis in my hands, right?
Right.
And one of the things that my osteopath was saying to me was everything was coming from like tightness up in my forearms. So I think it's a pronator teres muscle.
Okay.
Is that one of them? Yes, potentially. I could be wrong. Fact check it, Alex. And he went in on my forearms.
Oh, yeah?
And it's the most pain I have ever experienced under the hands of someone else. Physically.
Just like mushed it.
Oh my god, he was like pressing down here and driving down there and all over, and I was like wincing in the
Or your
seat.
fingers doing the like spasmic.
Oh my god,
like...
I was like recoiling, and they were so incredibly tight. He was like, right now, Olive, they feel like planks of wood. They don't feel like muscles. They're not moving like muscles.
They're just pure tendon.
Like literally, they were like rock bucking solid. So he had to like stick a bunch of needles in my hand.
Nice.
And the worst thing was he then had to do it on this side.
Oh, you knew what was coming.
It's like, no. But yeah, it was really, really interesting because I've never thought to take care of my forearms.
Right.
Because like you just don't think about
They're
it.
just tiny, right? They don't do anything.
Yeah, right? You're like, I need to fix my shoulders, need to
Yeah.
fix my hips, like look at my spine. But the forearms have given me the most amount of problems, and it makes sense because all the time climbing, I'm gripping. All the time with a barbell work,
They're involved in everything.
I'm gripping, right? Even handstands, like you're
Kind of,
gripping
like,
through it.
Freaky way I like to think about it is actually your finger doesn't end at the knuckle. Your finger goes all the way up there to your elbow, and it's creepy to imagine all these long fingers down there.
Like Slender Man.
Yeah, very strange. Well, that's the reality of it.
Yeah, so true.
And there's so much tissue there that can get messed up. And that,
Absolutely.
like you say, we're using it for everything.
Yeah,
It's
right?
the same as the feet. We're using
Yes.
them for everything.
Yes.
They deserve a bit of love as well.
Exactly. And you know what I've learnt? My favourite massage is a hand, foot, or head massage.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It feels so good. Like,
Yeah. The sensory areas as well, right?
sensory areas, and they're so like misunderstood. But also like how when I was dealing with the tendonitis like initially, and it was really, really bad, and I had to try like reduce the movement, I was like, it's fucking impossible to stop moving my hands.
Right.
Because you literally use them for everything. I was like, texting hurts, driving hurts, brushing my hair hurts. And I was like, I just can't rest them unless like someone literally does everything for me and I just sit down still. I have no choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was mad it was almost like now that things have kind of calmed down, it's like that feeling you get when you can breathe again after having a cold. You know, when you're like, oh my God, thank God. Yes. Yeah.
I can use all of my body again.
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to that feeling.
Yeah.
I do get the like feeling now that hopefully with all the kind of like rehab work I'm doing,
Yes.
actually this weak link will become a
Stronger
like
one.
probably one of the stronger ones in the chain.
Yeah.
And hopefully that can just improve my climbing, you know, and
Yeah,
longevity
definitely.
in the future.
Yeah. But it's really hard though to remember about your own rehab stuff, like around coaching, like particularly with so much like demonstration and stuff. You're like sometimes inevitably you go in like cold, right?
Yeah.
And then you're picking up weights or moving things around. That's when
I'm
like
trying to do a handstand.
yeah, and you're like, I haven't actually warmed up today.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's hard to like remember to do like early in the mornings if I have like early morning sessions. Or
Well, this is one of the really wonderful things for me about having our own space is like just 10 minutes between clients. I can just go and pick up a wrist roller and be doing some wrist rolls.
Yeah.
Like, we've got lots of little hammers and things. I'm doing wrist curls and things.
Yeah.
It's or sometimes even when my client's doing stuff, I'll just be like coaching them while also doing like a little eversion drill.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that makes it really much easier.
Yeah, just getting in your movement snacks throughout the day.
Yeah, and that goes for all of my training. Like, actually, my training is way less structured now, and I'll still have like certain days assigned to certain movement patterns, for example, but I won't have a workout.
Yeah.
I'll have like 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, 15 minutes there, and I'll do that specific movement pattern or things that pursue that. But it's all dotted through the day, and it's great.
Yeah,
it's like I accidentally work out almost.
Yeah, and you're like, really cool. Yeah. I have an interesting question. Do you like to call it working out, or do you like to call it training?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I prefer training because of the kind of like negative connotations with working out. Like you're working out.
Yeah.
Stress or anger or
punishment.
Yeah. But working out is definitely in my lexicon for sure. I think it just slips in there every once in a while.
Yeah, I also guess it depends who you're working with and who you're interacting with and what someone's understanding of stuff is. Like, I found not a lot of people understand mobility in the way that I understand mobility.
Okay.
You Google it, mobility scooters come up.
Right. Back when I was working at Sussex Uni, I wanted to do a mobility, I think it was going to be a Zoom thing or something like that.
Yeah.
And they were like, we can't call it that. People will think that it's for old people. They'll think it's for mobility scooters and how to use them. It's like, well, it depends on the crowd, but okay.
Yeah, entirely right.
I wanted to do like a class with flow in the name. Like, can't call it that. It sounds like a period class. I'm like, does it? I hadn't gone there in my head, but okay.
Oh my God. Yeah, vinyasa flow.
Yeah. That puts a different spin on things, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I can ever say that again. Thanks.
Yeah. Going back to the like working out or training, sometimes I don't even like to use training. Sometimes it's like, let's have a play.
Nice.
Let's move.
Yeah.
Let's be physical.
Yeah.
Do try and
let's be physical. Nice.
I think for my own sanity, I try and use different words.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes if it's a long day, I'll play that game of how many times can I say the same thing in different ways with different vocabulary.
Yeah, nice. Otherwise, it's like, I guess you're stuck with yourself all day, right? And you're like, I sound like a stuck record.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly. Before we get away from it, I think we should point out the rice is not cooked. It's dry rice.
Yeah.
Don't get a bowl of cooked rice.
Oh my God, no, that'd be so gross.
Yeah, sensory in the wrong ways.
Yeah, unless you're making sushi.
Yeah, that's you can get some extra extensive work in while you're making your sushi rolls.
Punch it into the nori, you know?
Yeah.
Sushi making's great.
Weird phrase for this afternoon.
Yeah, it's been full of weird phrases today.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, continuing the weirdness, I kind of want to finish off with some questions for you. Some weirdness. So, I mean, this isn't that weird.
Okay.
We'll start.
I'll see how weird I can make it.
Okay, yeah. So, which band, alive or dead, would you love to see live?
Live or dead? That opens up a lot of options.
I know. Exciting.
I'm going to have to take a moment.
So I can go first.
Yeah, go for it.
I would probably, it's such a generic answer, sorry. I would just see Queen live because I think like they were so obviously like iconic. And my dad ended up seeing them, I think, once live when I was a little twinkle in his eyes. So I was like, yeah, damn, it'd be fucking sick to see them. Like, such a massive band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Going back to the first CDs I ever owned, my uncle bought me for a birthday. I think it was my 10th birthday. Both Nirvana, Nevermind, and Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory.
Shit, yeah.
That's great.
Good bands.
And I think at that point I wasn't really into music very much. And he bought me these two things that are a little bit different, kind of similar. He's a very cultured man, my uncle, and he's like, let's give Ben options, but let's give him cool options.
Yeah.
And both of those CDs like shaped my music taste, and like what my dad listened to as well also shaped my taste. But it would be definitely awesome to see Nirvana live.
Yeah.
And even Linkin Park back in the day.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
90s
Absolutely.
Linkin Park would be sick.
You know what? Someone told me recently that they were going to do a Linkin Park gig with Chester as like VR or virtual reality,
like holographic.
Yeah, like a holographic thing. And I think like they ended up saying no because it didn't align with them or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, Linkin Park.
That would be weird.
And Nirvana would be fucking sick to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did Tupac, didn't they?
I think they did. Yeah.
But he's not actually dead, so that's fine.
Okay.
It's totally fine.
Next question, bit more weird, I guess. What do you think your spirit animal is?
Ooh. I feel like that question, it's really easy to be super cliche because everyone just goes for the like cool animals, don't they?
I mean, yeah.
What would you go for?
Well, I know mine.
Oh, you know it?
Yeah, of course I do.
How did you find out this?
So I did a spirit animal trance.
Okay.
Cool. So my friend from uni, his boyfriend at the time, was a shaman. Kind of like on reflection, I don't know how legit that claim was.
Right.
But I was 19, I was like, sure.
Cool.
And my boyfriend at the time did it and he was like, yeah, Olive, I'm a dolphin. I was like, sick, let's find out what I am. So I was lying on my friend Adam's bed and Lions, the shaman, was sat down and he was like beating a drum.
Was the lion his
No, okay, so this is where it's like controversial because his spirit animal was a stag. I was like,
okay,
interesting.
Pretty Harry Potter.
Yeah, right. So anyway, so he was like beating this drum and I had my eyes closed. I was kind of like lying down on the bed like in Shavasana and he was just guiding me through this internal like landscape or just guiding me, giving me prompts. And I remember like the sensation of kind of sinking into my bed. In reflection, it is essentially a yoga nidra practice where you're being held in consciousness, but your body is like relaxing. And I was going through this internal world and I saw like big grassy plains out in front of me, like an oxbow lake going through, and then like tabletop mountains either side.
Very cool.
And Lions said to me, he's like, okay, if an animal approaches you really aggressively, you can like turn it away. So I remember turning a bear away. I was like, no.
I ain't no bear.
You're too aggressive.
No.
And then, continued walking. And then I started fucking like scaling up this like mountain. I was like climbing up it. This was in my first year of climbing as well, and I was like smashing out like Alex Honnold. And as I look up right at the peak, there's this tiny little tree frog that like offers me his hand.
Oh.
So we then like sit on the edge of this mountain, like overlooking the landscape, and it's like that scene from Lion King where Mufasa and Simba sat down, like looking over the Pride Lands. That's just me and this frog just chilling.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why he's there.
Yeah, amazing. So I feel like I'd need to do a spirit trance to say with any certainty.
Yeah.
And so it would be difficult, like I'd feel wrong saying something else, but I would guess that it would be some sort of like small desert cat. I don't know exactly why.
Oh,
but,
interesting.
Cats are cool.
Yeah.
I feel like a connection with cats, like just the way they like go about themselves and like, the way they move and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't have any of the same anatomy as a cat, unfortunately. But I can dream.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I think it would be some sort of cat that lives in a harsh environment.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. The classic answers are like, I'd be a wolf or an eagle
or a lion. Tiger. Yeah.
And I almost feel like those answers are not allowed, isn't that right?
No.
Yeah, it's like, you don't get to choose just the cool animal.
You can't.
No.
Okay.
Definitely need to do some sort of thing to have an indication from an external source.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
What would you say my spirit animal would be? You don't know me super well though, do you? So it'd be hard.
Yeah. I was just like, Kingfisher, because it's on your shirt. But that's so amazing.
I feel...
Oh my God, I feel so connected. I don't know, because like the tree frog doesn't necessarily sound obvious until it's kind of said, and then...
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? And the reason why I was like, yeah, this makes sense was because frogs use their voice as their like medicine or their power. And I've got a lot of stuff to do with like my voice and things, and I felt connected to it in that way.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's like any part of your body that you notice more than the other, and then how that could relate to an animal.
I think about my hands a lot.
You know? Yeah, like I was kind of going along the lines of Like a monkey.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of
Because you
those monkeys with
climb.
like spindly fingers.
Yeah, it was just like sick at climbing.
Yeah.
That was what I was going
Well,
for.
I'm happy with monkey.
Yeah.
I'll take
Yeah, we'll
that.
go with that. Okay, okay.
Yes, another good one.
Nice. Sweet.
It's like Harry Potter literally ripped off spirit animals, didn't it?
So true.
With what are they called? Patronuses?
Patronus.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was
And
called.
they just have to wait and find out what Patronus they get. That's what we have
Very
to do
true.
with our spirit animals.
Oh, so true. Nice. Okay, so final question. What is your favorite element? So we're thinking like water, fire, air, earth, and ether.
Ooh, ether in there, eh? Earth. That's an easy one for me.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, yeah, I like that grounded feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
Earthiness is something that just sounds awesome to me and like
True.
feels great to think
Yeah.
about.
You do give me very earthy vibes. What
Thank
is
you.
your star sign?
The line one, Leo.
Oh, you're Leo, no fucking
Yeah,
way.
I don't know what element that.
Fire.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
I like ironically know a lot about astrology for someone
No,
who
I don't actually follow astrology.
I don't follow it, but I know so much. Interesting, but very
Yeah.
earthy vibes.
Yeah, and have you ever come across like personality typing that's based on like colors
Yes.
or elements and things like that? And they almost always, there's so many different, like there's corporate
Yeah.
systems out there, but they all seem to follow this same thing
Yeah.
of like green will be earthy,
Yeah.
but also like a warm, grounded presence. Blue will be like cool but logical kind of thing, and that's
Yeah.
water. And then
Yeah.
you've got the fiery, aggressive red
Yeah.
person.
Passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got
Yeah.
like the caring yellow person.
Yeah.
And actually, they kind of line up. I don't even like Harry Potter, but they kind of line up with Harry
you
Potter
sure?
houses, right?
Oh my god, it's so true.
Like the
that-
passionate red Gryffindor, the
Oh yeah, the
cool,
caring
logical
yellow.
Ravenclaw, yeah,
Yeah.
caring
Hufflepuff?
Hufflepuff, yeah.
Hufflepuff? Yeah.
And then, well, Slytherin, are they earthy?
Snakes just slither on the
Yeah.
ground.
Yeah, very true.
We'll go with that. Interesting.
I swear I don't like Harry Potter.
He says. Yeah, I think I would be water.
Okay,
Like, I really love being in a body of water
cool. Yeah,
and just existing there.
I see that.
Yeah, I'm also Cancer, so Cancers
that a
are
water sign?
crabs. Yeah,
Nice.
we're just watery boys.
Yeah, that's fair. That's good.
Yeah.
I've always found taking those personality tests, mainly green, a little bit of blue stuff in there.
Oh,
It'd be
interesting.
interesting to see
Yeah,
what you would get from them.
yeah, I do wonder.
But it's so funny to see these like analogs for elements, like elements that are fairly non-traditional things to think about in a corporate environment, used in like team building things in corporate environments.
Oh my god, so true.
It's so funny that it's just that layer away from that.
Do you think it's a control thing? Like people like to label and understand themselves in these kinds of ways?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's like a satisfying thing to pursue.
Like, yes.
And it actually almost doesn't matter what labels you use, does it? Because it's just that process of thinking about yourself and
Yeah, understanding yourself to a certain degree.
Yeah.
That's why I like using tools like astrology to understand aspects of myself. I'll never like let it dictate my life, but it's like, oh cool, I understand that, yeah, the Cancer gives me water, or like my rising sign is Gemini, and the classic thing is like jack of all trades, master of none, but better
Right.
than master of one.
I like that extra bit.
The extra bit that I was like,
Yeah.
I like that. Yes, I am
is good.
multifaceted.
Yeah.
So coming full circle, I'm a mixed movement coach.
Yay.
Because I'm a Gemini rising.
Love it. That's your new bio, right?
Oh, yeah, so true. Yeah,
Mixed
great
movement
bio.
coach, Gemini Rising. Done.
Do you wanna become like my marketing guru?
I am furthest from the best person to do that. The word is worst person to do that.
Oh man. Well, to kind of I guess like end there, like where can people find you if they wanna get in touch with you?
Yeah, so Instagram's probably a good spot. It's b.dubmove. Yeah.
Put it here.
Put it on there. I think it's b.dub.move.
Okay, cool.
Otherwise, actually, probably better reaching out through the Press Room, which is our training space.
Sick.
That's pressroom.btn
Nice.
for Brighton, the wonderful place that we happen to live.
Amazing.
Or if they just see me around on the street, they can say
Sweet.
hello.
Cool.
Always looking for a random stranger to say hi on the street.
Hell yeah.
always going to be a good day.
Yeah, wicked.
You know? Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. No, it's been an absolute joy, like, just chatting and, yeah, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Well, thanks so much for joining me.
If you said 7 out of 10 there, I would have been quite upset.
Like, so upset. What if I said 12 out of 10?
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
You'd be like, ego. No, I'm joking.
We don't want 12 out of 10.
Okay, fine. No. 10 out of 10 then.
Thank you, Olive.
A pleasure. Well, thank you guys for joining and watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.